You don't want this car. Not really. You don't wake up every morning dreaming about leather seats, polished metal, or a flawless Nardo Grey finish. You want what this car represents. You want proof. Proof that your struggle meant something. Proof that your late nights were not wasted. Proof that your sacrifices were not for nothing. The 2026 Rolls-Royce Phantom is not transportation. It is not a machine. It is a statement carved into metal and silence. It is a mirror that reflects exactly how seriously you have taken your life. Every smooth line, every quiet detail, every controlled movement asks you one question: did you earn this? Or are you still pretending you will someday? Look at it closely, not with jealousy, not with fantasy. Look at it with honesty, because most people admire success the same way they admire mountains from far away. They say it looks beautiful, they take a picture, then they go back to comfort. They never climb, they never sweat, they never risk falling. They stay where it is safe and familiar and complain about how unfair the world is. And deep down, you know if you are one of them. You know if you are consuming dreams instead of building them. You know if you are collecting excuses instead of results. This car exists because someone refused to live small. Someone decided that average was unacceptable. Someone chose pressure over pleasure, discipline over distraction, progress over comfort. While others were sleeping, scrolling, wasting hours, that person was working, learning, failing, adjusting, and trying again. This is what most people never understand. Success is not one big moment. It is thousands of invisible choices stacked on top of each other. It is choosing effort when nobody is watching. It is choosing responsibility when blame feels easier. It is choosing growth when quitting feels justified. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you said tomorrow? How many times have you promised yourself change and then betrayed that promise the next day? How many plans have died in your phone notes, your head, your conversations, because you never had the courage to act? Dreams don't die from lack of talent. They die from comfort. They die from laziness disguised as patience. They die from fear pretending to be logic. And every day you delay, you are voting for the life you say you don't want. The Phantom does not beg for attention. It does not need noise. It does not need approval. It moves with certainty because it belongs where it is. That is the level you should be aiming for. A life where you don't need to explain yourself. A life where your work speaks, your discipline speaks, your results speak. Right now, ask yourself, if someone examined your daily routine, your habits, your effort, your focus, would they believe you deserve greatness, or would they see someone wasting potential? Here is a hard truth. Nobody owes you success. Nobody owes you opportunity. Nobody owes you motivation. The world rewards value, not intention. It rewards execution, not excuses. You can feel tired. You can feel afraid. You can feel unmotivated. But you cannot let those feelings decide your future. Weak minds listen to emotions. Strong minds use them as fuel. This car is not about luxury. It is about standards. It represents a refusal to settle. A refusal to be ordinary. A refusal to live a life filled with what-ifs and I could have. Every detail whispers one message: excellence is built, not wished for. And the same applies to you. Your life will not upgrade itself. Your mindset will not sharpen on its own. Your future will not improve because you hope harder. You are standing at a quiet crossroads every single day. One path leads to comfort, excuses, and regret. The other leads to pressure, growth, and pride. Most people choose comfort and call it fate. The few who choose pressure call it purpose. The question is simple. When you look at this Phantom, do you see something impossible, or do you see a standard you are willing to chase no matter the cost? Look at it again, not quickly, not casually. Look at it the way you look at something you secretly want but are afraid to admit. Because this is not just a car standing in front of you. This is a line in the sand. It separates people who only talk from people who execute. It separates those who consume motivation from those who live it. Most people love the idea of success. They love the stories, the photos, the interviews, the highlights. But they hate the process. They hate the boredom. They hate the pressure. They hate the uncertainty. And because they hate the work, they settle for watching others win. Be honest, how many times have you said you want more money, more freedom, more respect, more control over your life? And how many times have your actions matched those words? Wanting is easy, anyone can want. Wanting costs nothing. Discipline costs everything. It costs comfort. It costs sleep. It costs weekends. It costs popularity. It costs the version of you that loved excuses. And most people are not willing to pay that price even though they pretend they are. This machine exists because someone refused to live in someday. Someone rejected the lie that time will fix everything. Time fixes nothing if you don't use it. Time only exposes habits. Waste it, and it will waste you. Invest it, and it will multiply. Every successful person understands this. Every struggling person ignores it. That is the difference. Not intelligence, not luck, not background. Awareness followed by action. There are people right now with fewer resources than you, fewer connections than you, fewer opportunities than you, and they are still ahead of you, not because they are special, because they are serious. They don't wait to feel ready. They prepare until ready is irrelevant. They don't wait for motivation. They build systems. They don't wait for confidence. They earn it through repetition. Meanwhile, others are waiting for perfect conditions that will never arrive. You live in an age where information is everywhere. Courses, videos, books, mentors, tools, everything is available, yet most people are more confused than ever. Why? Because they collect knowledge instead of applying it. They binge inspiration like entertainment. They feel productive without producing anything. They confuse movement with progress. They confuse planning with execution. They confuse being busy with being effective. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Look at this Phantom and understand something important. It is not the result of motivation, it is the result of standards. Standards about quality, about consistency, about precision, about refusing to cut corners, about doing things right, even when nobody is watching. That same principle governs your life. Your results are not random. They are the visible outcome of your invisible standards. What you tolerate daily becomes your future. Ask yourself uncomfortable questions. Do you protect your time or waste it? Do you sharpen your skills or scroll endlessly? Do you invest in yourself or spend everything on distractions? Do you finish what you start or quit when it gets hard? These questions are not meant to make you feel bad. They are meant to wake you up. Because comfort is dangerous. Comfort whispers that tomorrow is guaranteed. It lies. Tomorrow belongs to those who prepare today. Many people secretly hope for shortcuts, a viral moment, a lucky break, a rich connection, something that saves them from the grind. That hope keeps them weak, because while they are waiting for miracles, others are building momentum. And momentum always wins. Slow progress beats no progress. Consistent effort beats occasional intensity. Daily discipline beats rare motivation. This car does not represent fantasy. It represents reality at the highest level. It represents what happens when vision meets action and refuses to quit. It challenges every excuse you have ever made, every delay, every later, every I am tired, every not now. It stands there quietly asking, are you serious about your life or are you just talking? Because at the end of the day, nobody remembers intentions, nobody celebrates plans, nobody rewards potential. The world responds to output, to courage, to consistency, to execution. And you are making a choice right now with how you think, how you work, how you move. Either you join the group that builds or you stay in the crowd that watches. Here is the expanded third section, written to match your rules. Here is the truth that hurts the most, because it exposes every comfortable lie you have ever told yourself. Talent is not rare. Intelligence is not rare. Ideas are not rare. Potential is everywhere. Walk into any classroom, any office, any street, any village, any city, and you will find people with more ability than the ones who succeeded. The difference is not what they were born with. It is what they were willing to endure. Discipline is the separating force, and most people run from it like it is punishment, when in reality it is freedom. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days you feel powerful. Some days you feel empty. Some days you want to conquer everything. Some days you want to quit. If your progress depends on how you feel, you will stay stuck forever. Feelings are temporary. Habits are permanent. Winners build routines that carry them on weak days. Losers wait to feel ready. And ready never comes. Comfort is the most dangerous enemy you will ever face. Not failure, not rejection, not criticism. Comfort. Because comfort makes you slow, it makes you careless, it makes you satisfied with less than you deserve. It convinces you that average is safe, that struggling quietly is normal, that dreaming quietly is enough. And little by little it steals your hunger. By the time you realize what happened, years are gone. Look at your daily life. Look at how easy everything has become. Food arrives at your door. Entertainment fits in your pocket. Distractions are endless. You can waste entire days without even noticing. And society calls this convenience. But convenience weakens you. It trains your mind to avoid effort. It teaches you that everything should be easy. And when something finally demands sacrifice, you quit. Here is another uncomfortable reality. Most people do not fail because they are incapable. They fail because they are inconsistent. They work hard for a week, then relax for a month. They get excited for a moment, then disappear. They start strong, then fade quietly. Success does not reward intensity. It rewards persistence. It rewards showing up when you are tired, when you are bored, when nobody cares, when nobody claps. You say you want more, but do your actions show urgency? Or do they show comfort? Do they show hunger? Or do they show laziness dressed up as balance? Be honest. Balance is important, but balance without ambition is just an excuse to stay small. Rest is necessary, but rest without discipline is just escape. There is a difference between recovering and hiding. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you are training yourself to be weak. Every time you choose distraction over focus, you are lowering your standards. Every time you delay difficult work, you are telling yourself that your future is not important. And the brain listens. It adapts. It becomes exactly what you practice. If you practice excuses, you become excellent at quitting. If you practice discipline, you become unstoppable. There are people who wake up early when it hurts, who study when it is boring, who train when it is painful, who work when it is lonely. Not because they love suffering, but because they hate regret more. They understand that temporary discomfort is cheaper than lifelong disappointment. They know that easy days create hard lives, and hard days create easy lives. Nobody posts the lonely nights. Nobody shares the silent struggles. Nobody celebrates the boring repetition. But that is where greatness is built, in routines, in small improvements, in showing up again and again when nothing seems to change. Progress is slow, it is frustrating, it is invisible at first. And that is why most people quit before it works. Stop waiting for inspiration, stop waiting for confidence, stop waiting for permission. Discipline is a decision you make daily, sometimes hourly, sometimes minute by minute. It is choosing long-term respect over short-term pleasure. It is choosing growth over comfort. It is choosing who you want to become over who you are today. If you are comfortable right now, be careful. Comfort is not a reward. It is a warning. It means you are not pushing, not stretching, not evolving. Growth feels uncomfortable. Improvement feels heavy. Progress feels uncertain. That is how you know you are moving forward. This life will not demand greatness from you. It will allow you to be average forever if you choose. Nobody will stop you. Nobody will force you to rise. The responsibility is yours. And once you accept that, once you stop blaming circumstances, people, luck, and timing, something powerful happens. You realize that discipline is not a cage. It is the key. Look at the color. Nardo Grey is not flashy. It does not shout. It does not beg for attention. It does not try to impress anyone. It exists with quiet authority. It stands there calm, controlled, confident, as if it already knows its value. That is real power. Loud people try to prove something. Strong people do not need to. They understand who they are. They understand what they have built, and they let results speak. Most people misunderstand dominance. They think it means being noisy, aggressive, dramatic, constantly showing off. They think power is about being seen everywhere, talking the most, posting the most, proving the most. That is insecurity wearing a costume. Real power is silent. It does not chase approval. It does not explain itself. It does not compete for attention. It moves with certainty and lets others adjust. This exterior is designed with intention. Every curve, every edge, every proportion. Nothing is random. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is cheap. It reflects patience, precision, vision. It shows what happens when standards are non-negotiable, when shortcuts are unacceptable, when almost perfect is treated as failure. That mindset is rare. That mindset is what separates leaders from followers, builders from talkers, winners from spectators. Look at how it stands, calm, balanced, unbothered. There is no desperation in its presence, no need to convince, no need to compete. It belongs, and belonging comes from work, from preparation, from consistency, from years of doing things right when nobody was watching. Confidence is not something you fake. It is something you earn through repetition and results. Compare that to how many people live, always rushing, always stressed, always reacting, always proving, always chasing trends, always copying others, always afraid of being left behind. That is not ambition. That is panic. Panic comes from weak foundations, from unfinished work, from neglected discipline, from wasted time. When you know you have done the work, you move differently. You speak differently. You think differently. This exterior teaches an important lesson. Power does not need decoration. It needs substance. It needs structure. It needs strength beneath the surface. Many people focus on appearances first. Clothes, posts, cars, titles, label. But inside, they are empty. No skills. No systems. No discipline. No depth. And eventually, that emptiness is exposed. Style without substance never lasts. Nardo Grey reflects maturity. It reflects restraint. It reflects confidence that does not depend on applause. It is the color of someone who understands that validation is temporary, but legacy is permanent. It represents the mindset of building something so solid that opinions become irrelevant. When you know your worth, you don't argue about it. You demonstrate it. Think about your own life. Do you move quietly and build power in private, or do you announce every plan before you execute? Do you chase attention or chase mastery? Do you spend more time showing than growing? Because attention feels good in the moment, but mastery pays forever. One gives you likes, the other gives you freedom. This car does not follow trends. It sets standards. It is not designed to impress today and be forgotten tomorrow. It is built to remain relevant, respected, and desired for years. That is how a serious life is built. Not for quick praise, not for temporary excitement, but for long-term impact, for stability, for legacy. Silence is uncomfortable for weak minds. They need noise to feel alive. They need constant stimulation, constant validation, constant reassurance. Strong minds are comfortable in silence. They use it to think, to plan, to sharpen, to reflect, to prepare. While others are busy talking, they are busy building. Every successful person reaches a point where they stop trying to look successful and start becoming successful. They stop posting dreams and start producing results. They stop announcing moves and start making moves. They stop explaining and start executing. That is when real power begins. The Phantom's exterior does not ask for respect. It commands it, without words, without noise, without effort. And that is the level to aim for. A life where credibility replaces explanation, where results replace promises, where consistency replaces excuses. Quiet strength is rare. Silent discipline is rare. Invisible effort is rare. And that is exactly why it wins. Because while everyone else is distracted, competing, comparing, and complaining, it is focused. It is stable. It is growing. This is what power without noise looks like. It is built slowly, protected fiercely, and carried with calm confidence. Here is the expanded fifth section, following your rules and tone. There is a truth that most people avoid because it exposes their daily behavior. Time is not being stolen from you. Nobody is taking it away. You are giving it away. Hour by hour, day by day, click by click, scroll by scroll. Distraction is not an accident anymore, it is a choice. And every time you choose it, you are choosing delay over progress. Look at how much time disappears without leaving anything behind. Minutes turn into hours, hours turn into days, days turn into years. And suddenly, the life you imagined is still in your head while someone else is living it. Not because they are smarter, not because they are luckier, because they protected their time while you donated yours to comfort. Most people think wasting time means doing nothing. That is wrong. Wasting time often looks busy. It looks like constant messages, endless videos, random tasks, fake productivity, moving all day and achieving nothing. It feels productive, it feels responsible, it feels safe, but it produces zero momentum. Motion without direction is just exhaustion. Scrolling has become the modern escape. It numbs ambition, it dulls urgency. It replaces action with observation. You watch other people succeed and slowly accept that as entertainment instead of competition. You start believing that liking, commenting, and sharing is participation. It is not, it is consumption, and consumers never control the market. Builders do. Complaining is another addiction. Complaining about the economy, about opportunities, about connections, about unfairness, about timing, about circumstances. It feels good for a moment. It creates sympathy. It gives excuses social approval, but it builds nothing. Every minute spent complaining is a minute stolen from improvement. No successful person ever complained their way to the top. Waiting is the most dangerous habit of all. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for confidence. Waiting for support. Waiting for money. Waiting for motivation. Waiting for clarity. Waiting for permission. Waiting for conditions to be perfect. And while you wait, life moves on without you. Opportunities expire, energy fades, responsibilities grow, and courage shrinks. Meanwhile, someone else starts before they feel ready. They learn while moving. They adjust while failing. They grow while struggling. They look foolish for a while. Then unstoppable. The world only sees the end result and calls it luck. It was never luck. It was movement when others were frozen. There are people with full-time jobs, families, responsibilities, and problems who still find time to improve. And there are people with free hours every day who claim they are too busy. The difference is priorities. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but not everyone has the same standards for how they use them. Every habit is a vote. Every choice is a direction. Every wasted evening is a message to your future that it is not important. Every delayed task is a signal that comfort matters more than growth. Every excuse strengthens the habit of quitting, and habits compound faster than money. Look honestly at a normal day. Where does your energy go? Where does your attention live? What gets the best hours of your mind? Is it learning, building, creating, improving? Or is it entertainment, gossip, noise, and escape? Your schedule is your real priority list, not your words. People say they don't have time. What they mean is they don't have discipline. Time is created by focus. Time is protected by boundaries. Time is multiplied by systems. But building those things requires effort. And effort is uncomfortable, so most people avoid it and pretend it is impossible. Here is the harsh reality. Every excuse you make is being used by someone else as fuel. Every delay you justify is someone else as opportunity. Every fear you obey is someone else as advantage. Life is not waiting for you to feel ray. It is rewarding those who act anyway. You cannot scroll your way into greatness. You cannot complain your way into freedom. You cannot wait your way into success. Those paths lead to average lives and quiet regret. They lead to conversations that start with, "I used to dream about," and end with, "But then life happened." Life did not happen. Choices happened. The good news is this: if time has been wasted, it can be reclaimed. If habits have been weak, they can be rebuilt. If focus has been scattered, it can be sharpened. But only if responsibility is accepted. No more pretending. No more excuses. No more waiting, because every serious life begins with one decision: to stop donating time to distractions and start investing it in purpose. Step inside and everything changes. The noise disappears. The outside world fades. Distractions lose their power. What remains is precision, intention, and control. Every surface feels deliberate. Every stitch feels measured. Every detail feels earned. Nothing is accidental. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is careless. This is what happens when good enough is treated as failure and excellence becomes the only acceptable outcome. This interior is not about comfort alone. It is about standard. It reflects a mindset that refuses shortcuts. A mindset that understands that small details are not small. They are everything. Most people ignore details. They rush through work. They accept flaws. They say, "It's fine. It is close enough. Nobody will notice." But excellence notices, success notices, life notices, and eventually so does failure. Look closely. Every element fits perfectly because someone cared enough to make it that way. Someone invested extra time, extra thought, extra effort. That extra effort is invisible to lazy minds, but it is obvious to disciplined ones. High-level results are always built on invisible work, on unseen repetition, on uncelebrated refinement,
on boring perfection.
Most people live with low standards and high expectations. They want exceptional outcomes with ordinary effort. They want respect without discipline, wealth without sacrifice, freedom without responsibility, confidence without competence. And then they feel confused when life does cooperate. Life never rewards entitlement. It rewards precision. Inside this space, there is no chaos, no clutter, no confusion. Everything has a place. Everything has a purpose. That is how strong lives are designed. Clear priorities, clean habits, structured routines, focused goals. Weak lives are noisy, disorganized, reactive. Always catching up, always overwhelmed, always tired. Not from working hard, but from working without direction. This interior represents control. Control over quality, over process, over outcome. Control that only comes from mastery. And mastery is built slowly. Through repetition, through feedback, through failure, through correction, through humility, through persistence. People admire mastery but avoid the road that creates it, because that road is uncomfortable. It exposes weakness, it demands patience. Ask honestly, do you correct your mistakes or excuse them? Do you refine your skills or repeat the same errors? Do you review your performance or ignore it? Do you hold yourself accountable or blame circumstances? High standards are not about perfection. They are about responsibility. About refusing to accept mediocrity as normal. Luxury is often misunderstood. It is not about spending money. It is about refusing waste. Waste of time, waste of energy, waste of talent, waste of potential, waste of opportunity. True luxury is living in alignment with your highest ability. It is knowing you gave full effort, that you respected your own capacity, that you did not betray your future for temporary comfort. This space exists because someone obsessed over improvement. Someone asked, how can this be better? Again and again, not once, not twice, hundreds of times. That question separates average from elite. Average asks, is this enough? Elite asks, how far can this go? Average stops when it is acceptable. Elite stops when it is exceptional. Many people fear high standards because they think it creates pressure. It does, but that pressure creates strength. It sharpens focus. It builds pride. It creates confidence that cannot be shaken. Low standards create temporary peace and permanent regret. High standards create temporary discomfort and permanent respect. Look at your own environment, your workspace, your routine, your habits, your skills, your mindset. Do they reflect excellence or excuses? Do they show intention or neglect? Do they show growth or stagnation? Your surroundings are mirrors. They reveal how seriously you take your life. Inside this phantom, nothing is sloppy. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is careless. That is not luxury. That is discipline in physical form. That is self-respect made visible. That is consistency turned into comfort. You cannot live an extraordinary life with ordinary habits. You cannot build greatness on weak routines. You cannot expect elite results from casual effort. Every level of success demands a matching level of standard. The interior does not lie. It shows what happens when someone refuses to settle, and it quietly asks if you are willing to do the same. There is a moment in every serious life when excuses stop working, when blaming circumstances feels empty, when pointing at others brings no relief, when complaining sounds weak even to your own ears. That moment is uncomfortable because it forces one brutal realization: nothing is coming to save you, no perfect opportunity, no miracle connection, no sudden breakthrough, no hidden shortcut. Everything you want sits behind personal responsibility. Most people spend years waiting for rescue, waiting for motivation to appear, waiting for confidence to arrive, waiting for someone to notice their potential, waiting for support, waiting for luck, waiting for permission, waiting for conditions to improve. And while they wait, their lives remain exactly the same, not because the world is cruel, but because waiting is passive and success is active. Here is the truth. Nobody cares about your dreams as much as you do. Nobody feels your urgency. Nobody carries your regret. Nobody suffers your consequences. When you fail, the pain is yours. When you succeed, the reward is yours. That is not unfair. That is ownership. And ownership is power. Society quietly encourages dependence. It teaches people to look outward first, to blame systems, to blame backgrounds, to blame people, to blame timing, to blame anything except themselves. This feels comforting. It protects the ego. It avoids responsibility. But it also destroys progress, because you cannot fix what you refuse to own. Look at people who remain stuck for years. The pattern is always the same. They have explanations for everything. Why they could T start, why they could T continue, why they could T finish, why it was their fault, why the odds were against them, why others had advantages. None of that changes the outcome. Results only respond to action. Strong individuals accept harsh accountability. They say, if this failed, I must improve. If this did T work, I must adapt. If I am behind, I must work harder. They do not waste energy on self-pity. They convert frustration into fuel. They turn disappointment into discipline. They treat every setback as information, not identity. Nobody owes you belief. Nobody owes you support. Nobody owes you understanding. Expecting it only creates weakness. Depending on it creates vulnerability. Real confidence comes from self-trust, from knowing that even if nobody helps, progress will continue. From knowing that even if nobody applauds, effort will remain. There will be days when motivation disappears, when energy feels low, when doubt feels heavy, when progress feels slow. On those days, excuses sound reasonable. Quitting feels logical. Rest feels justified. That is when responsibility matters most. That is when discipline separates leaders from followers. Anyone can work when it feels good. Few can work when it feels pointless. Life does not respond to potential. It responds to pressure applied consistently. It responds to action repeated daily. It responds to habits practiced without emotion. It responds to courage shown without guarantee. Those who understand this stop waiting for perfect moods. They operate on commitment. Many people fear responsibility because it removes their escape routes. If everything is your fault, then everything is also your solution. That is terrifying, but it is also freeing. It means your future is not controlled by politics, luck, trends, or opinion. It is controlled by your standards. Look honestly at where you are, your finances, your skills, your health, your relationships, your mindset. These are not accidents. They are results of choices, of habits, of priorities, of discipline, of neglect, of effort, of avoidance. Every area reflects what has been practiced. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything. It means refusing to surrender control. It means asking, what can I do better, instead of, why did this happen to me? It means searching for leverage instead of sympathy. It means choosing growth over comfort. There is no safety net for greatness. There is no guarantee. There is no insurance against failure. There is only commitment, repetition, adjustment, persistence, and courage. Those who succeed are not fearless. They are responsible. They move forward despite fear. The moment excuses die, power is born. The moment blame ends, clarity begins. The moment waiting stops, momentum starts. That moment is available every day, every morning, every decision, every choice between comfort and effort. Nothing is coming to save you, and that is the best news you will ever hear, because it means everything is still possible. There is something powerful about silence when it is backed by strength, not empty silence, not weakness, not hesitation, but controlled quiet, the kind that comes from certainty, the kind that comes from preparation, the kind that comes from knowing exactly what you are capable of. That is what real confidence sounds like. Almost nothing, no shouting, no proving, no unnecessary noise, just steady movement forward. The Phantom does not roar for attention. It does not scream for validation. It does not demand applause. It moves with calm authority, with balance, with precision, with restraint. That is the sound of mastery. That is the sound of discipline operating in the background, and that same principle applies to strong lives. The most dangerous competitors are rarely the loudest. They are the most focused. Insecure minds are noisy. They talk too much, post too much, explain too much, argue too much, defend too much. They need constant reassurance, constant recognition, constant approval. Silence scares them because it forces them to face themselves. It exposes uncertainty. It reveals gaps. So they fill the space with noise. Strong minds are comfortable with quiet. They use it to think, to analyze, to plan, to refine, to learn. While others are busy broadcasting, they are busy upgrading. While others are busy reacting, they are busy preparing. While others are busy performing, they are busy building. There is a difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is loud. Confidence is calm. Arrogance tries to dominate conversation. Confidence dominates outcomes. Arrogance seeks attention. Confidence attracts respect. Arrogance needs to be seen. Confidence is felt. Look at the patterns of people who consistently win. They are rarely dramatic, rarely emotional, rarely impulsive. They are measured. They are patient. They are disciplined. They do not waste energy on unnecessary battles. They do not get distracted by opinions. They do not chase every opportunity. They choose carefully and execute deeply. Noise is a distraction disguised as importance. Notifications, opinions, trends, debates, gossip, drama, all of it competes for attention. And attention is your most valuable resource. Where it goes, your life follows. Lose control of attention, and you lose control of direction. Many people live in constant reaction mode, always responding, always replying, always defending, always adjusting. They have no time to think because they are too busy reacting. No time to grow because they are too busy scrolling. No time to lead because they are too busy following. Silence is where strategy is built. It is where weaknesses are identified. It is where strengths are refined. It is where mistakes are analyzed. It is where vision becomes clear. Without silence, everything becomes shallow. Decisions become emotional. Goals become confused. Progress becomes accidental. Controlled power means emotional discipline. It means not exploding when challenged, not panicking when delayed, not quitting when discouraged, not celebrating too early, not collapsing when criticized. It means staying stable while others swing wildly between extremes. Life will test emotional control through rejection, through failure, through pressure, through competition, through uncertainty. Those who lose control lose focus. Those who lose focus lose momentum. Those who lose momentum fall behind. Stability is a competitive advantage. The Phantom moves smoothly because every system is aligned. Nothing fights against itself. Nothing wastes energy. Nothing operates in chaos. That is how elite lives are structured. Habits support goals. Routines protect focus. Environments encourage discipline. Systems replace motivation. Most people rely on feelings. They work when they feel good. They rest when they feel tired. They quit when they feel discouraged. That creates inconsistency. Inconsistency creates weakness. Weakness creates frustration, and frustration leads to quitting. Strong individuals rely on structure, on schedules, on standards, on commitments. They operate regardless of mood. They move regardless of comfort. They execute regardless of applause. That is why they advance. Silence plus results is unstoppable. Noise plus excuses is forgettable. History remembers builders, not talkers. Producers, not commentators. Executors, not planners. Learn to move quietly. Improve privately. Prepare silently. Upgrade without announcement. Let growth happen in the shadows. Let skill sharpen unnoticed. Let confidence grow without display. Then, when the time comes, let results speak. Because when power is real, it does not need a microphone.